Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard the phrase, sleep is for the weak? Or maybe, if you want to be successful, you have to be willing to sacrifice sleep? These ideas sound powerful. They make you feel like you need to grind harder, stay up later, and push yourself more than everyone else. But here's the problem. They're not just wrong. They're dangerous. For years, hustle culture has glorified the image of the entrepreneur who barely sleeps. The founder who works 18 hours a day. The leader who answers emails at 3 a.m. But if you look at the science, really look at it, you'll find that this mindset is not sustainable. In fact, it could be the very thing holding you back from real success. Let's talk about what sleep really is. Sleep is not wasted time. Sleep is not a weakness. Sleep is a core biological function that allows your brain to reset, your body to recover, and your performance to stay sharp. A 2022 meta-analysis from Harvard Medical School showed that people who get less than 6 hours of sleep per night consistently perform worse on tasks that require memory, attention, and decision-making, compared to those who get 7 to 9 hours. And it's not just about how you feel. Lack of sleep can affect your emotional control, your reaction time, and even your ability to read other people's facial expressions. Let that sink in. You might be building a business, pitching investors, or leading a team, while your brain is literally functioning like it's had a few drinks. That's how severe sleep deprivation can be. Still not convinced? Let's talk about Elon Musk. At one point, he was working 120 hours per week. He admitted later that his health suffered, his thinking became foggy, and people around him noticed he wasn't functioning at his best. Now, he's publicly said he tries to sleep at least 6.5 hours a night, because he learned that smart work beats hard work, but only if your brain is operating at full capacity. Even Jeff Bezos once said that he prioritizes 8 hours of sleep every night. What? Because he's making billion-dollar decisions. And he wants to be sharp, not just awake. There's a major myth we need to kill right now. The idea that sacrificing sleep equals success. What it actually equals is more mistakes, slower thinking, shorter temper, higher stress, and eventually, burnout. When you trade sleep for work, you don't actually gain more time. You lose performance. And performance is what drives long-term success. So what's the takeaway? Sleep isn't the enemy of ambition. It's the fuel. You can wake up early. You can push hard. You can stay hungry. But not at the expense of the one thing your body and brain absolutely need: quality rest. So next time you feel like pulling an all-nighter, ask yourself, am I actually working smarter? Or just pretending to? You've probably had this experience before. You didn't sleep well. The next day you're slow. You forget things. You stare at your screen and nothing makes sense. Now here's the truth. That's not just you being tired. That's your brain malfunctioning, because it didn't get the reset it needed. Sleep is not just rest. It's mental maintenance. During sleep, especially during deep sleep and REM sleep, your brain does something extraordinary. It clears out toxins. It strengthens memory. It reorganizes information. It basically runs a full software update overnight. Let's break this down. First, memory. When you sleep, your brain takes what you learned during the day and files it into long-term storage. No sleep equals no storage. That's why pulling an all-nighter to study usually backfires. You might cram a lot of information, but without sleep, your brain never locks it in. Second, focus. Think of your brain like a flashlight. Sleep sharpens that beam. When you're well-rested, your attention is precise. When you're sleep-deprived, the beam scatters. This affects everything: your ability to concentrate, hold conversations, and even control your emotions. Third, decision-making. This one's huge, especially for leaders, entrepreneurs, and anyone under pressure. A study by UC Berkeley found that sleep-deprived people show increased activity in the brain's emotional centers and reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is the part responsible for logic and rational thought. In plain English, you become more impulsive, more reactive, less strategic. Sound like someone you want making million-dollar decisions? Probably not. Let's put it in perspective. Would you drive a car without brakes? Would you go into an important meeting half-drunk? Because that's what sleep deprivation does to your brain. It dulls your ability to pause, think, and act with clarity. Sleep affects your emotional intelligence too. Your patience goes down. Your empathy goes down. You start misreading signals, misunderstanding people, overreacting to stress. In short, less sleep equals worse relationships, worse leadership, worse outcomes. Here's the good news. The brain is remarkably responsive to good sleep. Even 1 or 2 nights of proper rest can restore memory function, improve decision-making, and boost creativity. Think of sleep like investing in your mental capital. Every hour you sleep well is like putting money in a high-return bank account. The dividends? Sharper thinking, better conversations, faster learning, and calmer emotions. Let me end with this thought. If your brain is your greatest asset, and it is, why wouldn't you protect it with one of the most powerful tools available? Not a supplement. Not a hack. Just sleep. Sleep is not an on-off switch. It's not something you can just do the moment you hit the pillow. It's more like landing a plane. You need the right approach, the right speed, and the right runway. The problem? Most people go from full-speed stimulation, emails, Netflix, scrolling on the phone, straight into bed, and then wonder why they can't fall asleep. That's not a sleep problem. That's a transition problem. Let's talk about creating a sleep ritual. A ritual isn't just a routine, it's intentional. It tells your body and mind, we're done for the day. Time to rest. Time to repair. The best performers in the world have wind-down habits. They don't just crash. They prepare for sleep like athletes prepare for game day. So how do you build yours? Let's walk through a simple framework I call the 90-minute descent. It's based on the idea that the 60 to 90 minutes before sleep are crucial. Step 1. Shut off stimulation. At least 1 hour before bed, disconnect from devices, especially blue light screens. Why? Because blue light tells your brain it's daytime. It blocks melatonin, your sleep hormone. Try reading a physical book, journaling, listening to calming music, or just dimming the lights in your home. Step 2. Drop the temperature. Your core body temperature needs to decrease slightly for deep sleep. Cool down your room to 18 to 20 degrees Celsius, 64 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Take a warm shower beforehand or use breathable sheets. Step 3. Repeat signals. Consistency is key. If you dim the lights, stretch, and brush your teeth at the same time each night, your brain starts to recognize, oh, I know what this is. It's bedtime. Now let's talk about one of the most underrated tools in performance. The power nap. Yes, naps can boost memory, mood, and alertness, if done right. Here's the science. 10 to 20 minutes equals quick refresh, no grogginess. 30+ minutes equals risk entering deep sleep, which can leave you drowsy. Best time to nap? 1 to 3 p.m., when most people have a natural energy dip. Power naps aren't lazy. They're strategic. Google, NASA, and even elite athletes use them to recover faster and think clearer. Now, what if you can't fall asleep? Here are 3 techniques that actually work. Box breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold again for 4. This calms your nervous system. Cognitive shuffle. Mentally imagine random, unrelated objects like banana, chair, ocean. This keeps the mind occupied but not stressed. The 10-minute rule. If you can't fall asleep after 10 to 15 minutes, get out of bed and do something calm. Don't lie there frustrated, it builds anxiety. Sleep isn't something to force. It's something to allow. Let's finish this chapter with a reminder. The way you sleep tonight determines how well you think, feel, and perform tomorrow. So ask yourself, have I made space for sleep in my life? Have I honored it the same way I honor my work, my goals, or my relationships? Because sleep is not downtime. It's prime time for your body and brain. And once you build the habit, once it becomes your ritual, you'll start to realize, your bed is not the end of your day. It's where your success begins. What if your best ideas weren't hiding in your next meeting, but in your dreams? What if the breakthrough you've been chasing didn't require more effort, just more sleep? Sounds too simple, right? But creativity isn't just about thinking harder. It's about making unexpected connections. And sleep, especially REM sleep, is when your brain becomes a master connector. Let me tell you a few real stories. Paul McCartney woke up with the melody for Yesterday fully formed in his head. August Kekulé dreamed of a snake biting its own tail, and woke up realizing the ring structure of benzene. Salvador Dali used to nap holding a spoon, so that the sound of it dropping would wake him up right at the moment his brain entered dream state clarity. They weren't lucky. They just understood how to use sleep as a gateway to creativity. Now let's look at the science. During REM sleep, your brain becomes less focused on logic and more open to novel combinations. The default mode network, a part of your brain that lights up during rest, begins to play. It's like jazz. Improvised, chaotic, beautiful. Your brain starts combining unrelated thoughts, memories, emotions, pulling them from different parts of your experience. That's when connections appear that you'd never spot while you were awake and focused. Ever notice how some of your best ideas come in the shower, on a walk, or as you're falling asleep? That's no coincidence. Those are moments when your brain finally gets a break. And when it gets a break, it gets creative. This is why sleep-deprived minds tend to be rigid. They repeat old patterns. They can execute but not imagine. But a well-rested mind? That's where innovation lives. So how can you use this in your own life? Here are 3 practical tips. Sleep with a question. Before bed, think about a problem you're trying to solve, but don't obsess over it. Just plant the seed. Keep a bedside notebook. When an idea strikes at 3 a.m., don't trust your memory. Write it down. Protect your REM sleep. That means getting enough total sleep, at least 7 to 8 hours, since REM cycles get longer the deeper into the night you go. Creativity doesn't have to be chaotic. You can design your lifestyle to make space for ideas to come to you. Sleep is one of the only times your subconscious mind gets the mic. So let it speak. Tonight as you fall asleep, don't just close your eyes. Open your mind. Because when the world is quiet, that's when your greatest ideas start to whisper. Some people wake up before sunrise, full of energy and clarity. Others don't feel truly alive until noon. Neither is wrong. They're just wired differently. And yet, for decades, we've treated sleep and productivity as if they follow one rule, one schedule, one rhythm. But your body doesn't run on a clock. It runs on your clock. This is your circadian rhythm, your internal timing system. Think of your circadian rhythm like a tide. It rises and falls throughout the day, governing when you feel alert, when you crash, and when you're ready to sleep. Now here's the secret. The more you align your life with that rhythm, the more naturally productive you become. You don't need caffeine. You don't need willpower. You just need timing. Let's talk about chronotypes, your personal sleep-wake profile. There are morning larks. There are night owls. And there are people in between. This isn't laziness or motivation. It's biology. Dr. Michael Breus, also known as the sleep doctor, defines 4 chronotypes. Lions, early risers, best in the morning. Bears, middle of the day energy, aligned with the sun. Wolves, late risers, creative at night. Dolphins, light sleepers, often anxious, peak late morning. Which one are you? Here's the problem. Society was built for lions and bears. 9 to 5 jobs, morning meetings, school bells. But if you're a wolf, or even a dolphin, you've probably spent years forcing your brain to perform when it wasn't ready. That's not discipline. That's misalignment. And misalignment costs you. It drains energy. It creates frustration. It limits your creativity. So how do we fix this? First, track your energy. For 1 week, note when you feel focused, sleepy, creative, or foggy. Look for patterns. They'll show you your natural rhythm. Second, shift what you can. You might not be able to change your job hours, but maybe you can schedule creative work during your peaks and admin work during your lows. Third, respect your dip. Most people experience a drop in alertness between 1 to 3 p.m. That's not laziness, it's biological. Use that time for rest, not critical thinking. Your peak performance is not about doing more. It's about doing the right things, at the right time. A lion should write in the morning. A wolf should brainstorm at midnight. A bear should run meetings in the afternoon. A dolphin should design their day around calm and control. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about honoring who you are, and working with it, not against it. So tonight when you go to bed, don't just think about how many hours you'll sleep. Think about when you sleep, and how you'll shape your day around your biology. Because once you learn your rhythm, you stop chasing energy, and start flowing with it. We often talk about success in terms of hard work, vision, persistence. But we forget one of the most powerful tools behind it all: recovery. Great leaders don't just work hard. They recover with intention. And one of their best-kept secrets? They sleep well and deliberately. Let's talk numbers for a moment. Jeff Bezos has said publicly that he aims for 8 hours of sleep a night. Why? Because he believes that being well-rested helps him make better, more thoughtful decisions. And when you're making billion-dollar choices, you want clarity, not caffeine. Ariana Huffington once collapsed from exhaustion. That moment changed her life, and she went on to build an entire company around the power of rest. Bill Gates, despite his intense work ethic, now emphasizes that high-quality sleep is essential for memory, longevity, and smart thinking. These are not soft people. These are high-stakes decision-makers. And they treat sleep like strategy. Here's the shift. Sleep isn't the thing you do after success. It's what gets you there. We used to think that hustle was the only path. But hustle without recovery leads to burnout. And burnout kills momentum. True performance isn't just about what you do. It's about how well you can sustain what you do. Sleep is your silent partner in that mission. It's invisible but vital. Think about athletes. They don't train every hour of the day. They train, then rest, then repeat. Why? Because performance happens in cycles. The same is true for entrepreneurs, for creators, for CEOs, and for anyone who wants to be excellent. Your sleep is not downtime. It's your operating system update. It's when your brain files memories, your body repairs cells, your immune system recharges. It's not weak. It's wise. Let me ask you, what would change if you started seeing sleep as an investment? Not a cost, not an afterthought, but an edge. What if your sleep routine became as important as your business plan? Your morning routine? Your meetings? Because when you sleep better, you show up better. You lead better. You decide better. And isn't that the whole point? As we close this series, I want to leave you with one core message. You don't need to burn out to break through. You don't need to sacrifice sleep to prove your worth. You're allowed to be driven and rested, disciplined and recovered, successful and well slept. So tonight, when you lay down, do it without guilt. You're not being lazy. You're charging your future. Rest is not retreat. It's power.